Hey gamers, it's Wintermute here from Grind This Game. Back with Oxygen Not Included, the automation upgrade. And I just was playing around with this Heatsink. Now there's a few of these heat sinks in the map. They're kind of hidden away, you have to discover them. They're usually in little ruins like this. So there's one that was down here. And I tried pumping various gases into it. And I found that hydrogen works. CO2 breaks this machine. So does oxygen. I didn't try every gas, but the third one I tried was hydrogen. And I'm pumping in hydrogen that's at 28 degrees into this thing. Now it accepts, it has kind of a holding area of 2,000 grams, and it's using the hydrogen at 10 grams per second. And most buildings or most machines have a positive heat production. They're usually like 20 watts or 15 watts or 100 watts. This thing has a negative heat production. So when you pump hot gas into it, it gets colder, which is kind of counterintuitive, but I guess that's the idea of having a heat sink. Now if you look at the temperature of this thing, it's at minus 31 right now. Minus 32, and it's cooling down. I cooled another one of these down, and they go all the way to negative 173, I think. Then they stop working. They get too cold. So using something like this in combination with this new thermo-shift plate, which is under refinement. Actually, it's under utilities. Thermo-shift plate. So if you build a bunch of these thermo-shift plates and you put them in a hot water geyser like this, you can cool down the water really significantly. So we'll see this thing's at negative 46. So what I'm going to do is kind of crack this open and build some of these thermo-shift plates out of wolframite, kind of connected to this room. And then I'm going to seal it up using abyssalite. Now there's a bug with this stuff. If you just try to destroy this thermo-shift plate, it actually doesn't go away. Even if you destroy it, it doesn't go away. So if we kind of watch this thing, this piece will cool down. It's at minus 51 now. It's already turned the chlorine into liquid in here. And you can see the coolness kind of spreading along, and it'll hit this geyser. And now it's slowing down a bit because this heat, it's kind of combating this heat. But it's a really effective way of kind of destroying heat. Now you do need a gas to pump into it, and the gas kind of gets destroyed. Now I don't know if it's going to stay like that or whether they're going to have an export port, but it's essentially a way of destroying gas. So in theory, out of your electrolyzer, you could send your hydrogen to this thing and use its cooling action to cool something like a geyser. It's pretty cool. Now I've been playing around with some of the logic stuff, and I made some pretty ridiculous things here. So I put pressure plates here. So when they walk by, if we look at the automation overlay, they're connected to these lamps. So whenever they walk by, it's going to turn these lamps on. Let's get Nisbet to walk over. Let me slow it down a bit. Send her back over. Now the length of the wire changes the sound of these things. So listen when she walks this way. Pretty interesting. There's probably a way to make chords and music using a logic network. Right now it's mainly just an annoying thing, but it's kind of funny. I built another thing up here which is also ridiculous and useless, but just messing about. So what I've done here is I built a bunch of doors, and the outer layer is connected through a NOT gate, and the outer layer is connected directly, and the inner layer is through a NOT gate. So if you turn this thing off, kind of toggles between the two states. It's like a giant mouth machine. It also destroys all the gas that's in there. Someone pointed that out in the forums. It's kind of an interesting exploit. Here's a giant one. Missing some doors. Let me put some more doors in. Turn this on and off. So let's say I painted some water up here. So there we go. We've got some water. Now let's destroy it. Put it in the chamber. Close it up. Presto changeo. Water destruction. It's pretty cool. Let's try that again. All gone. Now that's using an exploit where you're basically removing all the space that it could go, and it really should just flow up to the top, but it doesn't. It gets destroyed. What other ridiculous things have I been doing? As mentioned, if you do, let's build a line of these switches and put some automation wire of various lengths in. Let's put these little power shutoffs at the end just so we can visually see these things in action. Now, it doesn't work exactly like you'd think. So let's start at the top. Oh, let's start here. Now it has no sound. But the next one, it's not working anymore. Maybe, oh, because we're paused. Okay. It's kind of hard to hear, but that's making a sound. It also gets louder. The tone gets lower and the sound gets louder. But then the one at 6 doesn't work. The one at 7 drops some extra tones. And then it continues on down. So you could build a full scale and you could make music out of this thing. I'm not sure if they made it like this on that for that reason, but it's pretty cool. Oh, there's one other weird thing that happens as well. Let's say you build a switch and an automation wire, and maybe a few of these power toggles along the way. Let's turn this on and off. Not very exciting, but if you put a XOR, actually a NOT gate in between here, turn this on, you get this. And it's basically toggling back on and off. If you hook it up to too many things, it'll crash your computer, as I found out, or crash the game. You can slow it down and actually look at the status. So it's running. If we add wire, we can change the tone. There's a missing tone in there, but there's also some max length, I think. Some pretty weird stuff. Actually, going up in tone works. There you go. Some good messing around. I'll keep playing around with this. It's going to be fun. I'm going to try to make some weird stuff. Maybe might try to make some kind of LED thing where I send in a signal. I might also try to build some adding machines. Might try to build a little musical thing. We'll see what we can do. But there's a lot of capability in these things. So I hope you enjoyed that little messing about with all logic stuff. Which is coming in a couple of weeks in the automation upgrade. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.